So A Quiet Place Day 1 is not only the latest installment to the A Quiet Place franchise, but it's also the prequel to, well, A Quiet Place in Part 2. In the film, we follow two characters portrayed by Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn as they are surviving in New York in the early stages of the alien invasion. Before I continue on with today's video, I just wanted to say welcome to my channel, everybody. For those of you who are coming by my channel for the very first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button to do not miss a future video, whether it's a future review, a future reaction, whatever future video I have coming your way, and join me on my journey to 10K subscribers and beyond, because believe me when I say this, guys, you are not going to want to miss the cool shit I have coming your way. And also, for those of you who are coming back to my channel, welcome back. You have no idea how happy I'm to see your faces once again. Alrighty guys, so let's get into A Quiet Place Day 1.
Excellent!
I have to admit to you guys, before I saw this movie, I was very skeptical about A Quiet Place Day 1, mainly because, well, as a person who loves the first two films, I mean, Part 2 is one of my favorite horror films of this decade, and I love the work that John Krasinski did with those first two movies, knowing that it was not being held by John Krasinski, even though the filmmaker of this movie, I believe his name is Michael Cerinsky. I could be completely wrong on that, and I do apologize if I butchered his last name, but he was the guy who directed Pig, which I have heard nothing but great things about this movie. Until I saw that first trailer and I immediately thought, this could be really, really good. Going to this movie, I was really excited, even though I was still skeptical, but I was still very excited. Walking out, I am very happy to say that A Quiet Place Day 1 is a very good prequel. The performances in A Quiet Place Day 1 are fantastic, especially in our main two leads, Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn. Lupita Nyong'o easily steals this movie. I mean, if there is any doubt that Lupita Nyong'o was going to give a good performance, seriously, there's no doubt it's Lupita freaking Nyong'o, along with Joseph Quinn, who is fantastic in this film. And it clearly shows, by the way, which I guarantee you're going to hear everybody saying this, so I'm just going to pretty much echo whatever the reviewer out there is saying, but I'm only saying this because I agree with them. You completely understand why Joseph Quinn is being pretty much eyed for every single role on the face of this planet, especially for, well, Fantastic Four as Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. I absolutely love their chemistry. I love their dynamic. Their relationship is the heart and soul of this movie, and I really like this two a lot in this movie, especially knowing that A, they can't really talk, and B, knowing the circumstances of both their characters and how they complement each other and how they balance each other out. I thought that this movie was great in that specific way. One of the reasons why I was quite skeptical of this movie was because of the change in directors. Knowing that John Krasinski personally wanted this filmmaker to give him the reins of this prequel, I was curious to see how a new filmmaker, especially knowing that this is a sophomore film, would play in the sandbox of the Quiet Place universe. I thought he did a really good job, especially considering that A, he deals well, and it's very obvious within the first scene of this movie how he deals with character drama, and especially knowing that he's able to play in this big universe and expanding the universe, especially knowing that he's dealing with the landscape of New York City. And I thought that the director did a terrific job of not only keeping the human drama, but still expanding the scale without going bigger just because we're in a bigger environment. And man, I gotta tell you all, Michael Cerinsky, again, you know, I should look up his name really quick because I feel disrespectful to this guy, so give me 1 second. Yep, completely off as I expected. Michael Cerinsky, I thought, did a great job with directing this movie, not only of keeping a great human story or a great central relationship between these two characters, but also portraying and playing in a big sandbox of A Quiet Place. Something else in particular that I thought that Michael Cerinsky did very well is really setting up some great set pieces with terrific tension, guys, especially in the opening 15 minutes, guys. There is a terrific set piece in which things start to kind of, let's just say, where shit hits the fan, essentially. The way that Michael Cerinsky not only stages this scene, but keeps it so that the tension not only winds and winds, but how he uses the cityscape and the overall soundscape of New York City, I thought that Michael Sarnowski did a wonderful job of using the soundscape of New York City to this movie's advantage because, man, if you have been in New York City is a loud-ass place. One of the things that I really liked in particular, the set pieces of this movie, was knowing that the characters, minus one character, the characters do not know the rules of the Quiet Place films, unlike us, the audience. So, as we're seeing how certain set pieces are playing out, like one particular, that which I don't want to give it away, but let me just say this. This was probably my favorite set piece of the entire film, but it deals with characters, knowing that they do not know the rules, but we do on how to survive this world and the creatures in this movie, and seeing how these characters are trying to do something, and seeing how things are building up and building up and building up the entire time I was watching that set piece. I was literally going like, no, guys, keep this to, guys, stop it. You don't know. Oh, no, no. Oh my god. The way the tension is built and built to the crescendo of the scene. Holy fucking crap, guys. A Quiet Place Day 1 is a very bleak movie. And I mean, it is bleak throughout. It's an hour, I think, 30-hour, 40-minute runtime. But here's the thing, guys. Out of all those bleak moments, Michael Sarnowski finds specific places in this movie in which he injects, but generally some great, beautiful moments. Like, in particular, my favorite part of the entire film, this had me smiling so much, and I wish that there were more moments like this in this movie. One thing in particular that I absolutely loved about this movie was the cat. The cat in this movie was awesome, and that cat often stole sequences. And in particular, there's a sequence where, man, if I was in this situation, knowing my anxiety, that cat would have helped me and saved me in so many situations. Like, that cat was awesome.
Well, that's just fucking great!
Did I love A Quiet Place Day 1 like I loved the first two films? Unfortunately, I did not. There really wasn't much character development, although don't get me wrong when I say this, the performances in this movie were great. I mean, Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Kim are both terrific in this movie. I mean, there is no knocking towards the performances because they're all great, but when it came down to the actual connection, my emotional attachment to these characters, it just wasn't there for these characters, even though they do give motivations as to why the characters are on the journey that they're at. This next thing might just be a me thing, but I found the main goal as to why, especially Lupita Nyong'o's character is doing her thing. I legitimately was going like, do you know what's going on? I mean, do you really think that this thing is still going to exist knowing what's going on right now? Now again, this just might be a me thing, and some other people might be going, okay, it might just be reaching, but personally for me, it just made me really scratch my head a couple of times. While there were, I would say, maybe 2 or 3 scares that generally did get me, there were a couple of other scares that didn't quite land for me personally. Before I continue on to this last thing, obviously no spoilers. I found this last scene to be, or excuse me, one of the last bits of this movie to be very interesting. Now, I understood why this happened, but let me just say this. I turned to my buddy James, we were both going like to each other. Interesting.
And here we go.
So overall, while it may not be my favorite installment of the Quiet Place franchise, A Quiet Place Day 1 is nonetheless a damn good prequel. It has great performances, some solid tension with some really good human moments. All in all, I'm going to give A Quiet Place Day 1 a 3.75 out of 5. This is a really good prequel, and it's definitely a must-watch in the theater this weekend. I hope you enjoyed my review of A Quiet Place Day 1. If so, please hit the like button, or if you dislike the review, hit the dislike button. If you guys want to see my previous 2 reviews, please click right there or right there. And of course, until my next review or video goes live, I'll see you all next time.